Hi, how's it going? This is going to be part 4 of my song breakdowns of the songs off my EP Poolside, the end of an era. It's the last video. It's quite bittersweet. I hope you've been... I hope you've all... I keep stuttering. I hope you all have been enjoying the EP. It's been out for about a month now, which is wild. If you want to go listen to this song and or the entire EP before you watch this video, all the links will be in the description below. You can catch this song and the EP on Spotify, Apple Music. You can download it for free, name your price on Bandcamp. It's everywhere you listen to music, and I would really appreciate it if you went and took a listen. It would mean a lot. And I also just released the instrumental versions of all these songs on Spotify, Apple Music, the whole, shebang that I just listed. Because of these behind the scenes videos and because of my channel, I thought it'd be cool to release the instrumental tracks. So you can go catch those if you're interested in that. So a little bit of background on this song. There was yet another song that was gonna be on the EP initially, but it just didn't quite make the final cut. It wasn't good enough. And I had this weird thing with this EP where I really wanted it to be 4 tracks. I don't know why. It was just kind of a weird thing in my mind, just a 4-track EP. It just sounded really nice. So I scrapped this first song off of the EP and I was like, dang, I need another song. I need to come up with something else. So I was just kind of waiting for that idea to come. Cut to May of this year, just a few months ago, and my girlfriend Mari and I were flying down to Vegas for a little trip. While we were on the airplane, was resting my eyes and I just started hearing this bass line melody in my head. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of hot. That's kind of sick. I was really into Arctic Monkeys and Elbow, Seldom Seen Kid specifically. So I was really into that kind of like dark and gritty like vibe. And this bass line was that. It was like the epitome of that. Then I pulled out my phone and started figuring out the specific notes I was hearing in my head with like a little free piano app. And I was like sitting there with the volume turned up pretty loud because the airplane is really loud. And I was like pressing all the keys and putting it up to my ear and trying to figure out like what the notes were so I could write the notes down in my notepad in my phone so I could remember for later. So I formulated a whole idea, a whole vibe of the song all on my phone. I took tons of notes, waited till we got back from Vegas, then I demoed it out and I was like, dude, this is sick. Like, this is really cool, but it's so different. It's so different from like any of my other songs. A really dumb thing for me to be worrying about, but I was worried. I was like, oh my God, this song is just so different and so eerie and quirky and creepy compared to like Post Up or whatever. I just could not decide for the life of me if I wanted to release this song. I showed the demo to my dad and my girlfriend and they both loved it. They were like head over heels for it and they're like, dude, finish this. Like, this is sick. Thanks to my dad and my girlfriend Mari, I finished the song and I committed myself to releasing it. And no matter how scary or insecure I was about releasing this particular song, I was like, it's a good song. I like it. The whole point of me being an artist is to express myself and what I'm feeling. So if I like something, I should share it, and I committed myself to putting it out there. Yeah, that's a little bit of background on the song. Now, without further ado, let's hop over into Ableton, and I'll show you guys how I wrote and recorded this. Okay, so here is the session. This is the mix down session, so there's going to be some plugins missing on certain tracks. It's about 90 tracks, give or take, and a lot of it is instrumentation. Contrary to my usual songs where the vocals take up a lot of the layer count, a lot of the layers in this song are instrumental. The vocals are actually pretty simple in this song. So starting off with the intro of the song, there's no vocals except for like a couple little ad libs. I have it labeled here. It's called the instrumental intro because it's exactly what it is. It's just a little intro to the song, but it's all instrumentation just to kind of get you warmed up, just to kind of get you excited for what's about to come, build up some suspense. So again, you can hear all this if you go stream the song and stuff, and if you've already heard the song, you already know what this part sounds like, so I'm not gonna like play it in its entirety. I'll go through and play individual elements. We just have the drums here doing their thing. Just like always, whenever I want a live drum sound, I use Easy Drummer, and that's what's going on here. That's all that this is. It's the Tea Towels kit, which, fun fact, is the same drum kit that I used for Wheelie. I love this kit from the UK Pop expansion pack. It's really nice. I didn't really do any processing to these. All I did was I just took a little mag or mog or however you pronounce that EQ and just dipped it at 40 hertz because the kick drum was really boomy. But that's all that I'm really doing to this drum kit. It already sounded pretty much exactly how I needed it to sound right off the get-go within the plugin. I did record the drums with my MIDI keyboard, so the velocity was already a little bit randomized just from me hitting the keys at different pressures. I think I only played up until the end of this first chorus right here. After that, I just copy-pasted the MIDI with minor variations. So since I was copy-pasting it, that means the velocities in this section were exactly the same as the velocities copy-pasted all throughout in this section over here. To remedy that, what I did is I got this Ableton Velocity MIDI effect, and I just turned the randomize button up 4 points, whatever you want to call it, and I only activated it to where it turns on after this chorus. So, oh my Jesus, forgot my dog was in here, dude. He like did one of those weird inhale sneeze things. Oh my God, they gave me a heart attack. Okay, so it's only randomizing the velocities for everything after this first chorus, which is all copy pasted. So then the velocities are not exactly the same. It's subtle because I still wanted the drum performance to be somewhat consistent throughout the song. But this is just kind of a way, again, to make it feel a little bit more like a human being is behind the drum kit. So yeah, that's the drums. Then what else we got here in the intro? We got, yeah, the bass guitar. This is like the focal point of the whole song. Man, this bass line, this is where the song started. It's sick. As you can see over here, I have a track called Mic, a track called DI, and a track called Guitar Layer. Basically, I have a Fender Rumble 100-watt bass amp over here to my left, and I mic'd that up with an Audio-Technica 2035. I took my Epiphone bass, plugged it into the amp, mic'd the amp up. I also was running my bass through a DI box that I plugged into my audio interface, so then I'm getting a mic'd up amp signal up top here, and then I'm getting the DI signal on the bottom for a little bit more low-end thump. The mic track provides more articulation and more of the actual tone, whereas the DI kind of gives more of that low-end, that bassiness that adds the weight to the bass that it does. And then I added a little guitar layer on top of the bass. It gave the bass a little bit more added a pop and click and more articulation. It's just my Telecaster that I ran through a virtual amp here. Another thing to note too is that for the bass, I actually tuned it down. I don't remember what the tuning was. It was like drop C sharp or something like that. It was like really low. The original demo was in a much higher pitch, but I wanted the song to be lower to make it just a little heavier, a little grittier. And the pitch that I wanted to take the song down to, you know, I couldn't reach those low lows in standard tuning on the bass, so I had to tune the bass down pretty significantly. Yeah, then we have these little Wurlitzer stabs. It's the Ableton Electric stock synth if you're using Suite, and I just put some Valhalla Vintage Verb on there. Yeah, I got a little pitch bend in there, as you could hear, just to give it kind of a woozier, kind of eerie feeling. Then to layer with that, I have these little guitar stabs, which are playing the same chords, more or less. Just my Telecaster on the bridge pickup, being run through my Sans amp, GT2 Tech 21 NYC. This is a awesome pedal for DI recordings for guitar. It's so good. The tones on this thing are immaculate, especially the Tweed emulation. And then yeah, I just put a little bit of the stock Ableton reverb on there to make it a little spacier. Okay, so then the next part we got here is a little guitar arpeggio that goes on in the intro and all the verse sections pretty much. Okay, so as you can see, there's a low and a high here. The low is being panned to the left, the high being panned to the right. The low take is actually the original guitar take from the demo that I pitched down. The high take right here is me actually playing it in the proper key. Now we're gonna get a little bit more into the ear candy kind of stuff for this section. I got this reverby Rhodes right here. That's what this sounds like. Really weird and eerie. Just like the low take for the guitar arp, this was like from the original demo, but I pitched it down to match the key of the final product. And I bounced it down with the reverb and with everything on it. And then I just pitched it down in Ableton, and it, you know, it's really cool. It's, you know, already being run through some cassette emulation. So it's already really lo-fi and got some saturation and warble going on. But then you take all of that and you pitch it down. You're also pitching down the reverb because the reverb was bounced into that audio. And it just makes it sound so much cooler. Oh, and then how could I forget? There's this little phaser guitar in here, which makes a return later on in the song. You know what I'm talking about if you've heard it, hopefully, but it's this little sound. It's just my guitar run through an Ableton, the stock pedal effect, and then being run through the stock Ableton phaser just gives it this crazy wonky sound. So all that instrumentation is virtually the same in the first verse and the second verse, but in the second verse here, we get this little explosion of sound, if you will, kind of this part right here. That little, like, that too bad kind of part really gets things going. So if we just mute the vocals and look at the instrumentation is pretty much the same. All I added was just some guitars being run through a Rat emulation. Yeah, just that's a TSE Rat emulation that I'm running those through to get that distortion. Great plugin, and it's free. I'll put a link for it in the description if you want to check that out. And then on top of all that, I have the vocal that's just yelling like, too bad. Too bad. Yeah, I'm smashing that vocal through the Waves J37 to get that distortion. The last thing to go over here in the verse sections is the vocals. So let's just go ahead and listen to a little bit of the lead vocal in isolation here.
Confined to these static walls, alone for the streets. With gritted teeth, yet fists too weak, I'm lost.
The main thing that I'd like you to know about in terms of the tonality of the vocal, though, is this flanger. I have a Waves meta flanger on the vocal, and that's what's giving it that really weird kind of modulated tone. It just makes the vocal sound kind of psychedelic, but in a vintage kind of way, because it reminds me of like, you know, how John Lennon would use flanging on some of his vocals back in old Beatles records. And I'm also cutting out some of the high end to, again, kind of make it sound a little bit more vintage. The second verse is exactly the same. I already went over the too bad part. There's this little fallen line vocal that comes in right at the beginning of the second verse. It's very buried. It's really hard to even hear it, and you can't really even understand what words I'm saying. That was deliberate. That was an artistic choice. I wanted the vocal to be really quiet because, you know, I'll just let you listen to it first so you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Sometimes I want to fall in love.
Sounds really weird and demonic, but in the context of the track, it's so quiet. It's almost indistinguishable, but that was because I wanted this vocal to be really shy and kind of timid and, you know, really just in the background. And then all of a sudden it goes from that to the explosion of like all the Rat guitars and the too bad, you know, loud vocal. I have another little like big kind of part that changes up in the second verse, which is this part.
Is my best friend, yeah. The third and fourth thought makes.
Just all the background vocals and harmonies come in to really highlight that line. Here's what all of the harmonies sound like, just soloed.
Is my best friend, yeah.
And then we come over here to the second guitar solo. It's the same like notes and stuff of the verse sections, but everything is just opening up a little bit. Instead of palm muting the bass line, I'm just playing it like open like strings, like just loud and proud. And then I also have the pork and pickle distortion run underneath that to give it a little more extra punch. Yeah, crazy distortion. I love the way that sounds. It's a great pedal. And then the drums are opening up, and instead of playing on that closed hat, the drums are leaning on the ride cymbal a lot to give a lot of the drive. But the focal point of this section is the phaser guitar. This sounds wild. It's the same phaser guitar that was in the beginning, but I had a Ableton utility on this part that put this phaser guitar in the beginning in mono. So you're just hearing it really dead center in the middle. What I did though for this part is I took the mono button off. And so now the guitar is just rain free, just berating your ears across both speakers, moving around back and forth. The LFO, the phaser is going crazy. That's what this sounds like by itself. This is my favorite part of the whole song. I love this. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just stock plugins. I don't even think I ran it through an amp sim. And then just to give it a little bit more atmosphere, I have these little vocal yells in the background that I did. I just had the microphone set up and I was just going, hey, whoa, whatever. And I just put a bunch of reverb and stuff on it to make it really spacey. So now let's go ahead and move on to the choruses really quick. We've pretty much covered the whole song already. I mean, in the choruses, the bass guitar switches up a little bit. The notes, the tones and stuff are still the same. And on that guitar layer, I'm putting on a little bit of chorus right here, just an Ableton chorus for the chorus. And then the main thing that we get coming in this chorus is the reverby guitar strums. Yeah, it's a guitar being run through Valhalla Shimmer. Great reverb plugin. Yeah, that's just to, again, make the chorus feel a little bit bigger, just add another really spacey element in there to fill things out. And then we have these acoustic guitars that come in. And they're completely dry because there's already so much other spaciness going on in this part that this part didn't really need any reverb or delay. And then we got the vocals in this part. It's a single tracked vocal being layered with a little bit of overdrive.
Whenever I am feeling down, I need a pick me up. These times are tough, let's laugh it up. Just come and join the club.
I'm obviously putting a lot of chorus on those vocals right here. It's the Ableton chorus all the way up at 57%. The overdrive layer, that's what this sounds like by itself. It's just the lead vocal copy pasted, but I just put a bunch of auto-tune on it, like cranked all the way, and put a bunch of distortion on it to make it sound really weird. Almost kind of sounds like my voice is coming through like an amp. It might even actually be just an amp sim that I'm cranking up a bunch, but I don't remember. Oh my God, the plugins are right here. Would you look at that? It literally is. Yep, it's an Ableton amp set to the lead setting. Yeah, just to kind of give the vocal, just to make it poke through the mix a little bit more, to kind of just give it a little bit more sharpness. And then the last thing to go over at the very, very, very end of the song, as the main song starts to fade out, this really weird, crazy, feedback-y kind of part comes in. And that's what this sounds like. I knew as soon as I was demoing out the song that I wanted to have the song end with some sort of like guitar feedback, and this fit that. It's just my guitar being run through this really cool plugin by Minimal Audio, and it's actually the Rift feedback. I think it's a module from their main plugin, their main distortion plugin Rift, which I really want. It's on my wish list. But this is a free plugin, and it's a feedback plugin. It through various methods, you can actually artificially feedback your signal, and it's great. I love creating feedback in some of my songs, but when you're doing everything DI, it's really difficult. And if you also don't want to turn up your amp super loud to the point where it feeds back, it's really hard to get some feedback tones. So a plugin like this has been a godsend for me. And then I'm running it through Valhalla Vintage Verb, as always, to give it a little bit more of a spacey tone. But man, that's the whole song. That's 3,000 Problems. Just such a fun song to make. Not a fun song to debate whether or not I should release. The song gave me a lot of anxiety. I'm really proud of it at the end of the day, and that's what matters. And I hope you guys are enjoying the song too. You can listen to 3,000 Problems and the rest of my EP Poolside everywhere. If you have any questions about the song, about how I mixed it, how I mastered it, what plugins I used, if you want to know more about my songwriting or my lyric writing or my structuring, whatever, please comment below, ask me, and I will do my best to help you out and answer your questions. Thank you so much for all your guys' continued support through this process and throughout this last year. I've been making YouTube videos on a consistent basis for coming up on a year now in November. My goal for this year was to do YouTube videos on a bi-weekly basis at least for a year, and we're coming up on that milestone. It's been really cool to, see the growth here on this channel. And, I am still a very small channel. I understand that. But coming up on 300 subscribers as I'm recording this, that's crazy to me. That's more subscribers than I ever had on any of my old YouTube channels that I had when I was a kid. I mean, I'm just really, thankful for the people that do tune in and the people that support and the people that like and comment on these videos and listen to my music and watch my videos in general. It's just, I love you guys, and I can't wait to just see this continue to grow, and I can't wait to keep giving you guys more content that you will hopefully enjoy. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling now. I've gone on for long enough. Liking, commenting, subscribing if you feel so inclined. I will catch you in the next video, and take care until then, and yeah, that's all I got. Peace out.